my name's Savannah and welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back. If you are a subscriber, you guys, I just made it to 100 subscribers yesterday and I am so thankful for each and every one of you for wanting to listen to me and being interested in my hobbies and my passion for books. So thank you so much for being here. I have had the best time on BookTube so far. I have met some amazing creators. I have talked to so many cool book lovers over on Instagram. So this has just been such an amazing time doing this and I'm absolutely loving it. So thank you so much for subscribing. But today I'm actually going to talk about The Shining that I just read by Stephen King and I am very excited to get into it. But before we get into the video, I want to let you guys know that I buddy read this with Sarah and I will have all her information in the description box below. But I buddy read it with her and I'm going to have her on my channel next Thursday, so December 3rd, and we're going to meet up at 6 p.m. and I'm going to do a live stream and we're going to talk about our thoughts with this book. We both really enjoyed it, but we've been saving some of our thoughts to discuss when we're together next week. So I'd love it if you were able to tune in and see our discussion. If you can't, no worries. I just wanted to let you guys know about it. And also, I know it's super short notice, so if you do want to pick up The Shining, go ahead and do it now, read it really fast, and then listen to our video next week. So anyway, can't wait for that. All the information will be in the description box below. All right, sorry for that long intro, but let's just get into it. I'm assuming most of you know what The Shining's about or have seen the movie or just have some knowledge about it because it's such a big story in pop culture. But if you don't know what it's about Jack Torrance, and he is invited to go look over the Overlook Hotel, which is this beautiful big hotel in Colorado. And he is invited to watch over it in the off season. So when no guests are going to be there, and he brings his wife Wendy and his son Danny with him. And Jack needs to kind of have a fresh start to his life. He lost his job recently, he's a recovering alcoholic, and things just haven't been going well for him and his family. So when he gets this opportunity, he really jumps on it. So it's about their family and their experience at this hotel. And when they get there, stuff seems a little off, but Danny starts seeing visions and he senses the evilness of the hotel and kind of what has happened there. So I don't want to give away anything just in case you haven't seen The Shining or read The Shining. But before we get into the spoiler section of this review, I just want to say I loved this book. It is definitely my favorite Stephen King book I've read thus far. I mean, I haven't read a ton. I've read Revival, I've read Salem's Lot, and The Long Walk, and then this one. I read some of Gerald's Game. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it, but it was mostly because I had seen the film previously, and so I really knew what was going to happen, so I wasn't enjoying it quite as much. I do love that story though, and I would recommend it because the movie was great, and also what I was reading of the story was really great. Anyway, side note, I would highly recommend this book. It does have some slower parts, which again is kind of typical Stephen King, but I think it's worth it to push past those parts and really enjoy this novel because it is such a ride. The atmosphere is incredible. There's way less characters in this novel, so it's not hard to keep track of. I didn't have to write a list of names like I did with Salem's Lot. And the story is so spooky and iconic, and I just loved this book. I did have a few problems with it. Again, I didn't give it a 5-star, but I really loved it. So let's get into the spoiler section. So if you have not read this book or seen the movie, which by the way, they're very different, but if you haven't done those things, click away, go check it out, and I'm gonna get into the spoilers now. I saw the movie in early college, I believe, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I really loved the visual aspect of the movie. It was stunning, absolutely stunning. The elevator scene with the blood in the hallway, it's weird to say, but it's very beautiful. Like, it's very aesthetically pleasing. So I loved that, but I wasn't really invested in the movie like a lot of other people were. And I do need to give it a shot again. I do need to rewatch it. And don't come for me. I'm sorry if it's your favorite movie. I know that it is a good movie. It's well done. But ironically, Stephen King did not like the movie because it differed so much from the book. So when I was reading the book, I actually didn't know what the ending would be because I had heard it was different than the movie. So it was almost as if I hadn't watched the movie because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was on the edge of my seat throughout the whole ending. But the first thing I want to talk about is Wendy, the elephant in the room. Wendy was so I'm being obnoxious. She was so annoying in the movie. I couldn't deal with it. I know a lot of people feel the same way. Her character was very irritating. She just screamed the whole time and looked upset, which, like, valid. Your husband's going crazy. But at the same time, like, she was kind of a weak character. And I actually want to read you guys a quote that Stephen King actually said about the character in the movie. He said, "Shelley Duvall as Wendy is one of the most misogynistic characters ever put on film. She's basically just there to scream and be stupid, and that's not the woman that I wrote about." So it's really harsh, and I'm not sure if I would go that far to say it's the most misogynistic character ever on film. I think there are other characters who are worse than that. But I definitely see what he's saying. In the book, I loved Wendy. She was a strong character to me. She was always putting Danny first, always trying to protect him. And I felt this strong connection with her. I thought she was a wonderful mother. And also, this is a random side note, she had blonde hair in the book, which kind of shook me. I know it shook Sarah too, because we were like, wow, she actually has blonde hair in the book. This is very different. But, you know, that's not super important. But anyway, I just liked her character in the book way more. You guys will have to let me know in the comments what you thought of Wendy in the book versus the movie, and I would love to hear your ideas about it. I loved how in the book, Danny's shining power was really focused on. I felt like the movie did not focus on it nearly as much as the book did. I loved his relationship with Dick Halloran. I thought it was so sweet. I love the connection they had and the friendship they had. And I was rooting for Dick to get to the Overlook at the end. It was so intense. Him having to rent a snowplower, like that whole scene was so tense. And I just was like, come on, get to the Overlook. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And then the hedge animals were attacking him. And I was like, please do not die on me. Please do not die on me. So I really loved his character. I thought it was super interesting how he also had the Shining and how he explained to Danny what the Shining really was. And I just loved their relationship. I thought it was so great. And I was really rooting for them. I also thought it was so heartbreaking, Danny's relationship with his father, and how even though his father had hurt him in the past, he had forgiven his father. And oh my gosh, at the end of the book, when Jack actually kind of snaps out of the trance that the hotel has put on him, and he says, "Doc, I love you, please remember that," that broke my heart. And I think that was very different than the film, because in the book, the hotel sort of takes over Jack, but in the movie, it seems like he's sort of gone off the rails from the beginning. You know, I don't know. I just liked how it was more the hotel controlling him. And I loved how the hotel was like a character, kind of like in The Haunting of Hill House. I just liked when Jack was also shown as still wanting to be a good father, but really struggling with alcoholism, and how he had anger issues that got in the way. And I don't know, I just felt for the character more in the book, whereas in the movie, immediately I was like, this guy is not good. This guy is evil. He has something wrong with him. So I did like Jack for a different reason in the book. Of course, I did not like the character. I mean, he was horrible, and child abuse is never okay. And you know, the way he talked to his wife is horrible, but it was heavily implied that the hotel was very much influencing him. Okay, here's my favorite part. I want to talk about the parts that scared me the most. And I have a list. I have about 5 different things that scared me. So I'm looking at my list. I'm gonna bring it right here. Okay, when Danny went in and saw the woman in the bathroom, that freaked me out. Totally freaked me out. I know it's a lot different from the movie, but I thought it was really scary. The second point is the scene where the family wakes up to the elevator going off in the middle of the night. Oh my gosh, I would freak out. First of all, the thought of sleeping in a hotel, this huge building, and you're just a tiny little person in a hotel room with your family living here, and there is a snowstorm, nobody can get to you, you can't get to anybody else, like that freaks me out. And the fact that they heard the elevator in the middle of the night going off, oh my gosh, that scares me. I actually got stuck in an elevator when I was really little. I think I was 5, and that kind of traumatized me for life. So elevators creep me out for sure, and this definitely scared me. I think this is the thing that scared me the most in the book, probably because of my experience with elevators. The next scene that scared me, or rather was just really intense, was when Wendy was in the bathroom hiding from Jack, and even though he doesn't have the "here's Johnny" line that everybody knows, it was still very effective, and I thought it was so intense. She didn't know where Danny was, and this was one of my favorite scenes in the whole book. I thought it was so effective. Hey guys, sorry, so I'm editing right now, and I realized I totally forgot to mention one of my favorite scenes in the whole book. Don't know how I did that, but the scene where Danny gets stuck in the tunnel underground and he can't see anything and somebody's in there with him, yeah, that scene got to me. So loved that scene. Here's something a little more subtle that freaked me out. When Jack noticed the hedge animals moving, so he kind of looks at them and they're in a different position. And he's like, am I imagining this? And then when it happens later with Danny too, I thought that was scary. I just imagined myself being in that situation, like being alone outside and these animals just changed position. Like one was sitting up and then crouched down, and just all of that was freaky to me. The last thing that I wanted to say was I liked how there was some supernatural things going on, but it wasn't over the top. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I remember the ending of Revival and it did not scare me just because it was just a lot. Whereas this, it was still a little bit more believable. And Danny's powers almost were like him just really being able to read people. He could hear their thoughts. So obviously, you know, people can't do that. But it just seemed like something that felt a little bit more real. And feeling the presence of the spirits of the hotel, like that is scarier to me than something being really out there. So I really enjoyed that, and I am just so glad I read this book. It is such a good classic. I know there were some slow points. I get that. I know that. But honestly, I had a really fun time reading this book, and I actually listened to the audiobook a little bit as well, and I really like the audiobook as well. So please let me know if you love The Shining, if you hate The Shining. Do you like the movie better? Do you like the book better? Do you like certain aspects of one more than the other? I would love to hear y'all's opinions. So I am gonna wrap this one up. This is the second part of my Stephen King classic horror reviews. I'm going to read Pet Sematary, and I'm very excited. I'm going to read that in December, and I will have another video out very soon. Bye.